Coming up to this job site, there had been significant storm damage from past that hadn't been remediated, so I knew I'd be here for some time. I started making myself comfortable and installing these side awnings from Vivor. I have 4 of them. I have 1 installed, but back to focusing on the electrical. The main panel was broken off completely and down on the ground and had been shooting sparks. So I decided to replace it with something that can't rust. That's just basically 10-inch PVC into concrete where the wiring feeds up into it, and 2 portable RV powered, or what they call them, temporary power outlets. You can buy those on Amazon. They feed out 50, 30, and then they have 220 amp breakers as well. I had meters installed for tracking for the owner, for anybody else that comes out, and that's pretty much it. Plugs, simple. These need a little roof on them because water collects up here on this top portion, and if you open it while it's wet, then the water will seep down inside. So that's a few more pieces of PVC. The RV I'd had for some years had flooded and molded, so I bought a cargo trailer and figured I could make a conversion out of it and do about the same thing as an RV. So I bought it at a drive-in movie theater, brought it home to the Keys, and got started on a basic 15-amp electrical system, followed by the kitchen, and then plugged in some basic amenities, things I could order off of Amazon and such. Allowed me to go ahead and hit the road and then work on it as I went along, making it more comfortable as I've been working and also doing this on the side. I knew I needed to upgrade the electrical, so I started hatching a plan for a 30-amp system. Here you can see the 2 side by side after they were completed. And here we go into the 30-amp system as I started to build it. I'll highlight this a little bit better in a video later. This is just the basic layout and installation of what I did, if it's helpful to anyone. These are all mini breakers and thin rail systems, pretty typical of a lot of the rest of the world, starting to become more accepted in the United States and even to code in a lot of cases. This is an 8x14 cargo trailer that I bought to convert into a job site office for disaster response from the jobs that I pull long-term on site and such. But this video is focusing on the electrical. Starting at the beginning, I put in a 15-amp outlet and had a small panel wired for that. Recently, I added the 30-amp. I didn't want to do the full upgrade to 50, so I found a way to combine the 2. I'll show you in a moment. Here we come in at the 15 at 12 gauge. It's a little oversized. It decreases heat in the line, increases efficiency, draws less amperage overall slightly. The 30 amp is coming out appropriately at 10 gauge, both feeding up into the main breakers. If I'm not mistaken, the triple for the 30 is at 40 amp, and the 15 amp breaker is at 25 amp. All of that's coming out at 6 gauge, which is what I was talking about, allowing me to be able to go higher. I can go up to 45 amps if I plug in both wires, the 15 and the 30 from outside as a feed. From the breaker, I go into the smart analog meter in case I need to track my expenses and such, and up to the digital meter, which is especially helpful because it tells me my current amperage draw. That's the primary thing that I use that for, because if I start hitting over 30 amps consistently, I need to plug in the 15. I have all of that coming up to the distribution box, which is hot, neutral, ground. These little guys are pretty easy to work with. I was surprised. Special little keys to get the nuts tight, but all of that feeding up into the main breaker panel. The green ones are for DC. I have a transformer that I hook up and have running the pump, lighting, other things. Otherwise, the other ones are primarily for outlets, and running out the outlets throughout the rest of the trailer allows me to start finishing the walls and making it a little more aesthetically pleasing.